Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gonzalez.
He's going to be
Here.
remote, so he's on. Okay.
Attorney Murphy. Absent. Mr. Collins.
Here.
Ms. Gresham. Ms. Hurst.
Present.
Ms. Naylor.
Present.
Mayor Sarno.
Present. We all please rise for a moment of silence. We're going to dedicate it to Superintendent Dr. Sonia sends you regrets. Her mother just recently passed away. She's almost 100 years old, and you're in our thoughts and prayers. And we'll take a moment of silence for Dr. Denault's mom. And now the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, everyone. And I wanted to thank Dr. Michelle Walsh, who's going to be pinch hitting tonight for Superintendent Dr. Sonia Donnell, and soon she'll be a superintendent out of the district, bittersweet. And thank Dr. Yolanda Johnson for filling in while deals with her the family situation, and God rest her mom's soul. And before we go into the agenda, I just wanted to give a shout out. I don't know if you saw this on Western Mass News. Gary Rome, Prize Squad Central High School student Addison Neal, junior ROTC, super student on there. It was a great piece on it. So to Addison and Tad Tokars and everybody, that was a great advertisement for what we do here in the Springfield Public Schools. With that, we'll move to Section 2, approval of the minutes. Vote to approve the minutes of the School Committee Chapter 74 vocational meeting on February 27, 2025. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, there's a motion on the floor. Motion by Mr. Collins, or second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Attorney Murphy. Absent. Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Ms. Gresham.
Yes.
Ms. Hurst.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, one of those official matter passes. Thank you very much. B is to approve the minutes of the school committee special meeting on March 5th, 2025. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion on the floor, please?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Gresham. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Naylor. Roll call vote is required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Attorney Murphy. Absent. Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Ms. Gresham.
Yes.
Ms. Hurst.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you very much. C is the vote to approve the minutes of school committee regular meeting on March 13th, 2025. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, is there a motion, please?
So moved.
That's a tie there, okay? Mr. Downs, second.
Second.
Ms. Hurst. Roll call vote is required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Attorney Murphy. Absent. Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Ms. Gresham.
Yes.
Ms. Hurst.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Also, we're joined by our school rep, Serenity Martinez from Virtual School. Student advisor also is here, Jeff Hamilton, on it. And this is her last day. And we'll be speaking about you a little later, and you've done a great job. So, now we'll move to voting items, and I want to thank Ms. Barbara Gresham. This is a vote to recommend the Buildings and Maintenance Subcommittee to honor State Representative Bud L. Williams with the naming of the Roger L. Putnam Vocational Technical Academy, formerly Trade High School Gymnasium, the Bud L. Top Cat Gymnasium, and Buddy, and ironically, God rest his soul, right next door, his son Kamari, the Sci-Tech Court is named after him too. But Barbara, I'll turn it over to you. But Buddy, if you're watching, and I think you got word, Buddy scored well over 1,000 points before the 3-point line, and his range was as soon as he got off the bus. He was able to shoot that ball, but he's done a lot of things now for our community. And Ms. Gresham in the community had reached out to me for this honor, and he is very humbled by it. So, Ms. Gresham, if you want to elaborate on it, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great honor for Representative Bud Williams and him, and when he was playing basketball at trade school, which is now Putnam Academy. He made it sure that people know that he did 1,000 points. He was the first one to do those 1,000 points. So I think it's an honor that we recognize him with this name in Putnam
Thank you.
Gymnasium after him.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Any other comments? Yeah. Top Cat?
Wasn't that a cartoon?
That must be his nickname when he played ball on it. But again, he had reached out to me. He was very humbled and honored by this. And again, he's continued to score points off the court with all his activities for the betterment of the city of Springfield.
I'll make a motion that we refer this to Budget and Finance so that they can do the research and bring it back.
So the motion made by Mr. Collins, or second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham.
I'm sorry,
It's
grounds,
Grounds.
things that
Well, my building and
building and maintenance.
Mr. Clerk. So motion made by Mr. Collins, seconded by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote is required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll for Top Cat, Bud Williams.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy, absent. Mr. Collins,
Yes,
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
yes.
Ms. Bruno-Naylor,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you very much. B is to approve the amended inclusive 2025-2026 school calendar. I'll turn it over to Dr. Balch, please.
All right, great. In your packet, you have two items. The first item was the calendar that was approved by the school committee at the last meeting. There was a request for Three Kings Day to be included there. And then this matter went to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Subcommittee, chaired by School Committee Member Hurst. And you have in your packet another document that includes federal-only holidays and the inclusion of Indigenous Peoples Day, and a second document, which is an informational calendar that includes a non-exhaustive list of celebrations and holidays that some of our diverse school community members celebrate. So I'm going to turn it over to School Committee Member Hurst for additional information.
Ms. Hurst, for your report, please.
Dr. Balch, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as a result from our last school committee meeting and the recommendation from Vice Chair Naylor that we take up the calendar to ensure that it was inclusive and representative of our school body, we had a dual subcommittee of curriculum and program and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so you'll see that there are several calendars in your packet, and there are a couple of options. We don't necessarily have to adopt one over the other, especially if there's particular feedback or input. But what we did want to do was bring back some options for us to consider. So we could go with having no holidays designated in the calendar. We could, and only sort of denote like when there's school, when there's not school. We could, and I would just want to acknowledge that at the subcommittee, Dr. Denal did have a preference for us maintaining a calendar with at least the federal holidays. And then you'll notice there's an attachment that is a pretty comprehensive list of a variety of different observations / holidays that are representative of different cultures and religions that could very possibly be observed in our district based on our school community. So before us, I mean, the recommendation would be to adopt the inclusive calendar, which has the federal holidays and then the list attached.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Questions or comments? And I appreciate that Columbus Day is still in there with the combination on that. And again, we have a very diverse mosaic population. And some are holidays, some are just denoting that cultures celebrate them. So good work on that. Ms. Hurst, any other questions or comments on it, or? Okay,
Mr. Mayor, I would like
Vice
to make a
Chair.
motion to vote to approve the amended inclusive 2025-2026 calendar.
Motion made by Vice Chair Naylor. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Ms. Gresham. Roll
Mr.
call vote
Mayor?
is required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr.
Mr.
Gonzalez.
Mayor. Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was trying to jump in several times before we got to the point. Which agenda are we voting on? Because I'm looking at the attachments before me here. I see a calendar, a draft calendar, but I don't see the other calendars that Ms. Hurst referred to.
So there's, yeah, yes, so the one, they both say draft. And
Okay.
there's one that was approved by the school committee on 3/13/2025 up in the right-hand corner that does not have the attachment of the inclusive calendar that is being proposed by the school committee tonight with the date of 3/27/2025. And it might not be attached because you're looking at it electronically, but it's the calendar that only denotes the federal holidays.
Okay, and it's in the corner, it's 3/27/2025.
Yes.
Yes, and so the way that we're looking at it, Mr. Gonzalez, is that it's that top draft calendar and then attached, so electronically, there would be sort of probably below it, there's a list, and it's called the informational calendar.
Which denotes the Three Kings Day, by the way, too,
Yes.
which is an important religious
Okay,
holiday.
I've got the right one in front of me. Yes, I'm sorry about that, but I just need to make sure.
For
Nope,
clarification.
absolutely.
Okay, so we, is there a motion?
There was, that was his vote.
That was,
Yes.
that was motion. Okay, motion made by Mr. Gonzalez. Or
No,
second?
I made.
No, actually, that's right. There was a motion. Vice Chair Naylor made the motion.
Yes.
Second was Ms. Hurst.
Ms. Gresham.
Ms. Gresham made the second.
But he was doing roll call.
I guess,
Oh.
that's right, I was. Clarification. So, going back to that, no other discussion or comments? Please call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
Attorney Murphy. Absent. Mr. Collins.
Yes.
Ms. Gresham.
Yes.
Ms. Hurst.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, board of sufficient votes, matter passed. Thank you. C is to approve the amended school committee policy on competency determination. This is from Dr. Yolanda Johnson. I'll turn it over to Dr. Walsh, please.
Thank you. This policy was presented at subcommittee, and I'm going to turn it over to school committee member Hurst as she chairs the curriculum and programs committee. Just wanted to note that we have a short presentation prepared this evening from Dr. Johnson, Dr. Marissa McCarthy, and Bob St. Lawrence as well.
Ms. Hurst, please. Thank you, Dr. Walsh.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So this did come through Curriculum and Program Subcommittee. I think it was just myself and Vice Chair Naylor that were present, along with Dr. Denal's staff that were there. And so what we have before you tonight is really time sensitive, because these are the competency determinations that this body needs to take up and pass, or provide some level of input, feedback, so that we can have something to pass for those individuals who will be graduating in 2025. With the elimination of MCAS, each district has been left to determine their own competency determinations. And so there was a great presentation that was put on by the cabinet. There were lots of questions and thoughts around some of the graduation requirements for the coming years, but we are going to have further discussion about that and only take up what needs to be taken up in this moment for our graduates, so that they know what it is that they need to do in order to complete for June 2025.
Ms. Hurst, for your
Mr.
subcommittee's
Chairman?
work. Mr. Gonzalez, yes?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, I reviewed this and I just wanted to say thank you, Ms. Hurst. I see here in the slide that there's going to be explore the inclusion of civics, because I thought that that was very important, especially as we look at the local civics. With that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this.
I know that Dr. Yolanda Johnson is just really wants to
Yes.
make that presentation. I see your head nodding. Is it, no, it's that,
Mr.
yes, Ms. Hurst.
So, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, for your expeditious vote to move this forward. However, I do think it's really critical, and with your indulgence for the committee, if they could just hear from Dr. Johnson's team, in particular, because for the viewing audience, we want to make sure that they know what it is that students are going to need to require in lieu of the MCAS this year, and because there is a pretty significant or unique component that goes back to address some of the individuals who may have left our district who could have a potential opportunity to have a graduation diploma.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Dr. Johnson, just when you thought you were out, we drag you right back in. So with the indulgence of the school committee, actually, I agree with you, Ms. Hurst. And again, the motion already by Mr. Gonzalez. We're going to have the presentation. I think it's important for the public to hear it. And again, a lot of times you'll see the school committee call an issue, vote it right away. The subcommittees do a lot of work. They spend hours in their meetings. So I just want to, when they say, geez, you gavel it in yes or no, work has been done behind the scenes. Without further ado, Dr. Yolanda Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Vice Chair Naylor, Chair of the Curriculum and Program Subcommittee, and the school committee members. We are just here to provide an overview of what does this change really mean for us, particularly with the class of 2025. So just a really quick overview. Effective December 5th, 2024, MCAS is removed as a graduation requirement. To graduate from a public high school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, students must meet local graduation requirements and they must meet the competency determination, we affectionately call the CD. The law requires to meet the CD, the district has to certify that students have completed the required coursework aligned with the state academic standards and curriculum frameworks in English, language arts, mathematics, and at least one science discipline. That includes biology, introductory physics, chemistry, technology, or engineering. The new law requires that those students who have not previously met the competency determination must demonstrate mastery of Common Core of skills, competencies, and knowledge by satisfactorily completing coursework that has been certified by our district as showing mastery in the skills and competencies in the state academic standards and curriculum frameworks that are measured by the MCAS. Okay. So next we will have Chief St. Lawrence walk us through what this means for us as we look at the class of 2025.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Mr. St. Lawrence.
Thank you. Good evening. What you're looking at here is a view into the prior competency determination using MCAS. And there's two important groups of students that we want to see when we look at this. One is the number of students who have met the competency determination. Now, the guidance from DESE states that students in the class of 2025 who have previously earned a competency determination through the regular or retest administration of MCAS, they're all set. Right, so that's good. The other group of students, however, is who we need to focus on, and they say specifically it is important that districts focus first on students in the class of 2025 who have not earned a CD. And so those are the students that we are going to talk about with what their expectations for those students are, and there are 940 students in that category. And so as Dr. Johnson alluded to, using the coursework certification that she just described, we will look to the 940 students who have not yet earned a CD And for each of those students, we'll be certifying that those students have received a passing grade in English 9 and English 10, or equivalency, receiving a passing grade in Algebra 1 or Algebra 2 and Geometry, or equivalency, and finally, receive a passing grade in one of the 3 laboratory core science classes, such as Introductory Physics, Biology, or Chemistry, or equivalency.
So the next question is, what does that mean for our former students? And it means it's a significant meaning for our former students that graduated from 2003 to 2024 who did not meet the MCAS requirements to get a diploma are now eligible to come back through an application process. The new law is applicable to former students. It is not retroactive, meaning, like I just said, that students need to actually come back, or adults need to come back and apply. A process to determine eligibility to acquire a diploma dated 2025 is being established. So those former students who come back and apply would receive a 2025 diploma. Students would be 2025 graduates and need to meet our CD policy. So our next steps as a district, thank you. So our next steps are first to confirm the list of coursework that's needed for the CDs. Then we need to establish that process for graduates to be able to come back and determine whether they met the CD requirements. We need to communicate that as well. So we need to develop a robust communication plan so our former students from 2003 forward know how to come back and apply for a diploma. We have to work collaboratively with schools and district leaders to ensure that our CD and graduation requirements are aligned to support post-secondary success. In the K through 12 Governor's Graduation Council, we anticipate is going to offer new guidance, which could veer and change our CD plan. So we're looking for that in December of 2025. And with the future revision of the pupil progression plan, that is a great opportunity for us to explore different classes that so enrich our students' academic career, such as the inclusion of civics, African American history, Latino American history, financial literacy, and college and career readiness.
Thank you, Ms. McCarthy. Any questions or comments of Ms. McCarthy? Johnson?
I have one.
St. Laurent? Yeah, Ms. Gresham, please.
With the former students, will the district get in touch with them, or how?
Yes, that's part of our plan, is developing a robust communication plan of how we'll be outreaching to the community, because we're definitely going to need to share the word about this. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Ms. Hurst?
Mr. Mayor, thank you all. And I know you just mentioned, McCarthy, that it's very possible that the Governor's Council will come back with some deviation from what the current policy or law states. And I was on a meeting this afternoon, and so they too said the same thing, and they said it with like a level of urgency. So I think it would be great, and I know that you all have your plates filled, is if we could have some sort of a process or a plan sooner rather than later, so that this door doesn't close, or it gets modified in a way that it doesn't reach as many folks as we are hoping it's going to reach.
Right now, our tentative plan is to have 2 application windows for students to apply, to seek the competency determination. So we are going to work diligently to try to catch them in 2 different waves, mid-year and by the end of the year.
I'll also just add and echo the urgency. I think there's 2 opportunities to submit graduates that would be eligible for the class of 2025. So that would be our traditional graduates, right, completing with the June graduation ceremonies that we're going to be enjoying very soon. And then there's also a summer graduation opportunity to report graduates in our October sims. So we really do have a compressed window to work with those students and get them get their coursework certified and identify any gaps, and then address those in a pretty short turnaround. So I totally agree with that.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Let me go to Mr. Collins. Denise, did you still have the?
that was me.
Oh, was, I'm
good.
Mr. Collins, and I'll go to Vice Chair Naylor, sorry.
Since we lost the presentation partway through, could we have Zell put it on the
Sure.
website? Because parents would be interested in seeing these slides. So if we could have that put on the website, I think that'd be helpful.
Good point, Mr. Collins. Dr. Balch, Michelle's noting that right now. Vice Chair Naylor, sorry.
I just want to ask Dr. Johnson to clarify as well. When we talk about the CD requirement, we're talking about folks who graduated, but they did not pass the MCAS, so they did not receive a diploma, but they may have received a certificate of attainment.
That is,
And I want to make sure that that's clear because there's a lot of people who did not graduate because they dropped out, and that's not what we're addressing through this particular initiative. It's folks who did graduate, who did complete their credits, but they were not able to pass the MCAS, and therefore they can come back at this time during these application periods to then submit a request to be able to have an official diploma, which is really huge and gets a lot of doors open for them that they haven't been able to have access to.
that is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Naylor. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, the motion's already been made by Mr. Gonzalez. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Oh, Dr. Balch, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to say, on behalf of Dr. Denal, thank you for your hard work and dedication to this and making sure that we have a very concrete process for our graduates who or those seeking graduation and being very intentional and deliberate about our communication. So thank you very much.
A motion's already been made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Ms. Gresham. Roll call vote required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Attorney Murphy, absent. Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Renault Naylor,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, more than sufficient votes, matter passes. Thank you. Presentations, section 4A is recognition of Serenity Martinez, 11th grader from the Springfield Virtual School, for a dedication, service, and leadership on the school committee as a student representative for the Student Advisory Council. And I know Principal Allison Lynch is here and Student Advisor Mr. Jeff Hamilton is here, and Mom is here too. I know school committee members like to say a few words. I know Dr. Balch would too, and we just had great success with virtual school, and I think Dr. Balch is going to elaborate. Your students have never missed a meeting, so let me turn over to Dr. Balch, please, first.
On behalf of Dr. Denal and myself, we really appreciate your dedication and commitment to these meetings. Your insights and perspectives really brought a lot to the school committee meeting. So we really appreciate seeing your face and hearing from you. You so eloquently described all the activities and going-ons and happenings. So it's an honor to be sitting next to you. So thank you. And your fan club who never missed a meeting, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Balch.
And I'm excited for
School committee members?
Vice Chair Naylor.
Yes. So, first of all, thank you for not just coming to the meetings, but bringing some energy to the meetings. You have a beautiful smile and presence about you, and you brought that with you every single week. You gave beautiful feedback and also some directives to us to make sure that we were very clear on the importance and value of your school and what you bring to this district. So it's commendable. Keep doing what you're doing. We look forward to working with you in the future and hope that this is not the last time that we see you, even though this is the last time this year that you'll be sitting with us up here.
Thank you, Vice Chair Naylor. Ms. Hurst?
So I echo my colleagues' sentiments, but I just want to reflect on your first day and how excited you were. And you said you were a little nervous, but you were so bold and you kept true to who you were and to those who you were representing. And I just want to say continue to do that all throughout your life.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Any other school committee members?
Aye, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Gresham?
it's just a delight to sit here and have a conversation with you, talking about all the good things that's happening. And I always said, I want to be a kid again because they was doing such wonderful things. So I'm just happy for you, and I wish you the best.
Gresham. Any other school committee members?
Mr. Mayor, I think it's worth noting that you represent not only your school, but you were elected by your peers from all the high schools. That obviously the rest of the students in Springfield don't consider you guys outsiders, which is really something because in a lot of places, anyone who goes to a school like yours, they're not part of us. And I think it really says something about our students because you're not the first one to come. And both of you have been excellent representatives. But it says a lot, not only in the confidence they had in you, but that you are part of our system.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Any other school committee members? Okay, hearing none. Serenity, you are an intelligent, talented, and beautiful young lady, and as Vice Chair Naylor pointed out, with $1 million smile, and you always came here very well prepared. And as Ms. Gresham indicated, important to get that student perspective on it. And people at times thought, why are you doing a virtual school? And we had it ahead of time before the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. But it has really blossomed. And to see yourself and your predecessor did a great come out of your shells and maybe more to your predecessor, and then really being able to eloquently state your feelings on a student perspective has been great. It really has been great. And I have a sense, or I'm going to make book on you, that you're going to do very well as you move forward. So to Principal Allison Lynch and to Jeff Hamilton, the student advisor, and of course to you, Mom. You look like sisters, by the way.
Oh, right?
Huh?
Oh, definitely.
I'm not trying to patronize you, part of my street, but I could BS you. I'm just, really, you do on that. So, with that, we have a special presentation of a bouquet for you. And I know you'd love to say a few words. And I know you have a report later on in the meeting. But we'd all like to present you a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Come on up, Serenity. Come on up.
Mom coming up?
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Come on up, Mom. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank that.
Serenity, this is from all of us. Okay, just a small token of our appreciation. Mom, come on up here. Come on up here. Yeah, we'll take a photo. I want to make sure we get everybody in here. Come on, everybody. Mom, get in here. Chris, Dr. Boss, Barb, Denise, so we got everybody? Trini, get my good side. I'll turn around. Ah, I got you smiling now. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, thank you. Serenity, I know you'd probably like to say a few words. Serenity, you want your sister to say a few things?
I'm sure my sister had a lot to share. I'll share for the both of us this time. I just want to say thank you very much for all of your kind words, and it really did touch me. I'm getting all emotional. It has been a great time sitting up here and getting to know each and every one of you. And I know this might be my last meeting, but this experience has shaped me as a person, and I will always hold a little piece of all of you as I continue on in life. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Serenity. Well said. Well done. Okay, B is exceptional learners data. Dr. Marissa McCarthy, I'll turn it over to you. Walsh, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we have a presentation from Dr. McCarthy regarding our exceptional learners discussing programmatic expansion, and we'll review where we were, where we are, and where we're headed.
Dr. McCarthy? Thank you, George.
Exceptional learners being students with disabilities within the special education department. This first slide gives you a side-by-side comparison. The first side being the enrollment of students with disabilities within the district since 2013. What you see is a steady increase moving up of students with disabilities enrolling. The right shows a decline of district-wide enrollment for all students, both taken from October 1 data from 2013 until the present. This next slide is just a breakdown of what that number of exceptional learners really means. It means since 2013, there's been an increase of 37% of students with disabilities enrolling in the district. That's 1,755 students. What's more remarkable is the total number of exceptional students in our low incidence program. Our low incidence programs are programs for students with a very specific high need, a disability that requires specialized programming, whether it's in our LINKS, which is our program for students with autism, our SEBS, our social emotional programming, life skills. It's typically a smaller classroom with a modified curriculum with very specialized supports that are often functional, activities of daily living. But this increase of our enrollment shows that 67% of the students, 67% growth in the students with high needs coming into the district since 2013. This next slide breaks it down from program. The blue demonstrates what our programs look like. We have 10 programs within the district. We offer a full continuum of special education programming within the district for students. The blue shows what the programming by number of students was in 2013, and the green shows the number of students enrolled in that same program in 2025. I'm sure LINKS is standing out for many of you. LINKS is our programming for students with autism. It has grown from, since 2013, 154 students, to 2025, 698 students in LINKS programming. What that doesn't really show is the many disability categories that students are found eligible under. And just because you have a disability of autism doesn't mean that you're in LINKS programming. So there's 1,535 students in Springfield Public Schools with an IEP for autism. 54% of those students are in inclusion. So you can tell that students with disabilities, every disability category, are impacting all of our classrooms. 45%, which is shown up here, are in our low incidence programming. You also see some decline in other programs. You see steadiness and the slight growth in our social emotional programs. That's our behavioral programs. The next slide does a breakdown of our LINKS programs by grade. And what you see is this, we call it, there's this wave that's coming. And in our younger grades, our elementary grades, and it's moving to our middle schools, we have a higher number of students that require the specialized LINKS programming than at our high school students. And that's just because it's a new need for the district. As we saw the enrollment go up, the need for opening those programs has consistently been happening the past several years. And this need is continuing to come from pre-K and is moving from middle school to high schools. So the classrooms that we have at our elementary level will continue to grow into our middle and high schools. There's two types of LINKS programming. There's moderate and intensive. The goal for our moderate students in our moderate program is by high school that they're often working on a diploma track. They have a combination of small group settings and inclusion opportunities. Our intensive students are typically in their self-contained classroom working on a modified curriculum and will be with us till their 22nd birthday. You see in like the second group and the fourth group a trajectory of growth in both the intensive classrooms. So this slide shows in the bar graph the number of classrooms from 2022, 2023, 2024 to 2025. This is our projection for the next 3 years of the number of students that will be in each of these classrooms. The blue demonstrating the projection for 2018. So we will still need to continue to open classrooms for links programming as it grows. We're unable to tell the projection for 2028 for K through 2 because the students are in preschool and it's an ongoing enrollment. But you would suspect a similar growth of the need for the classrooms to continue to grow. So what's to come for our exceptional learners? As I noted, our exceptional learners are in every pocket of our schools. They are in general ed classrooms, they are receiving counseling from counselors, they are receiving services from all service providers. Some have a whole continuum, some are in smaller settings. So we are working to continue to train principals, ILSs, and department chairs on inclusion practices to be able to support the needs of students. This has been a really exciting opportunity and a collaboration with the academics department. We're working on really intensive training specialized for our links teachers this year, so we can make sure that the teachers who are hired have the right training to be able to provide the services our students deserve. We've done intensive training for our kindergarten teachers to understand how to meet the needs of students with autism. We continue to do different types of parent trainings to be able to provide supports in the home. And we're really focusing in on the high quality instructional materials and using those to help drive the individualized instruction. And that's the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. McCarthy. Any questions or comments from Dr. McCarthy? Ms. Gresham, please.
Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
With the links with autism, is there a break male, female?
It's not. It has both males and females in the class.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Any other questions or comments?
I have a few questions, Mr. Mayor.
First, yes.
Me again? I sound like you tonight. No,
Jeez,
no,
I got your butt.
no. It's the second. No, it's the second time that that Mr. Mayor thought I was you. That's all. So I'm gonna ask a
Chair
few
Naylor.
questions. We have to have a little bit of fun, you all, because it's too serious in the world today. Sometimes you gotta laugh. So a couple of things that I wanted to ask, and thank you again for this presentation. I know it was something that I asked for recently, and you all put this together very quickly, and it's very, very informational. There's a couple of questions that I have about teacher shortage. We know that there's a teacher shortage across the country already. How is that affecting our ability to meet the needs of students who now have unique challenges or exceptional challenges, so that we have certified teachers and folks that know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it?
Absolutely. So the special education department is going out. We went to the career fair recently, but we're also recognizing that we need to make a concerted effort for people to understand the profile of the classroom that they're accepting positions for in order to stay in that position. We're offering to be able to come in and look at classrooms, really giving principals a deeper understanding of what the classroom should look like and what the profile of students should look like, to make sure we're hiring the best staff for those classrooms. We're looking internally at our paraprofessionals who work within the classrooms and providing training for those individuals who have expressed an interest and have a real gift and skill in working in the specialized programs. And as a department, we're really focusing on high quality professional development and really looking at the details of how to set up a classroom properly, leaning into some of our strongest teachers and having them be models for our newer teachers who need more help. We have a range of autism specialists and behavior specialists within the district who are going into classrooms, and we look at the whole student and whole classroom. So they don't go in just with the lens of behavior, they go in with behavior and academics and classroom setup. So it's our goal to try to support the teachers in understanding the role they're accepting and then being supported in that role.
Okay, and so ultimately, we're doing the best that we can with where we are, but the answer to the question is that yes, we are experiencing shortages, and yes, it is affecting our ability to do what we need to do.
Absolutely, we're impacted by the teacher shortage, just like.
Okay, thank you. And then the other question is if you all could just provide us with some of the resources that we also have in addition to the data here, like for example, the adaptive music program that I always love. Met several students and I know some families personally that have benefited from their children being in the adaptive music program. But I know that's not the only thing that we do for students who have exceptional needs. And so I would love to see a list of what those things are that we offer so that folks have an awareness of that and know that we're not just looking at the technical aspect of how we address the needs of our students, but we do have some creative practices in place as well.
We do.
Thank you.
Share those.
Thank you.
Ms. Hurst, thank you, Vice Chair Naylor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Dr. McCarthy. It was a very informative presentation. I have a couple of questions. So this, I thought I had one, but this presentation is only including students that are in district?
Yes.
What are the numbers for those students who are out of district?
We have 178, I believe, students out of district right now. The students, they're at a range of placements for varying needs. I could talk.
And so is that number on the rise or increasing like some of the other numbers?
District placements have actually decreased in the past 5 years. So 5 years ago, we were at about 300 students being out of district. Today, we're at 178. So we are servicing more students in district than we had historically. Mm-hmm. There is also a challenge with out-of-district placements with the number of seats that are available.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm wondering, do we have any numbers to some of this data? So for example, like what the increases have been to the budget, to what it costs? Like, can we sort of quantify what the impact is financially?
That I don't have that, but it's certainly something that this presentation lends itself to. So those are certainly things we're looking into and can get for you. You're welcome.
We are doing much more in-district specialized teaching. District that obviously is considered and sometimes rendered.
Mm-hmm.
That is, we're up to well over 300, which is a big number of times. But, you know, we've been, again, able to up our game internally. Naylor, Vice Chair Naylor brought up, important that that teacher, he or she, comes into the setting so they get a feel for the setting. Paraprofessional pipeline has been great. Many times they're dealing one-on-one. And just because a child, he or she is autistic doesn't mean that they can't succeed. Some are very, very high functioning on it. I did notice, I think we all noticed the number, nearly 700. 2012 or 2013?
2013.
On that, so. Any other questions or comments for Dr. McCarthy?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I have
Vice Chair Naylor.
one more
You
question.
got it right this time.
You did.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Kind of piggybacking on what our chair just said, Mr. Mayor, about the numbers and the data. Do we know if the numbers are lower because we are diagnosing differently or have other practices in place to be able to know whether or not students need to be put in certain placements? Because one thing, I mean, it's one thing to look at the data. Obviously, we know that based on it, the numbers have increased drastically. But could it be because there are certain tools that we have now that maybe we didn't have access to 12 years ago, 13 years ago? And so if we could, and I know that's not something we can answer tonight, but it would be really helpful if we can look at, whether or not the way that we're measuring that now and the way we're looking at it now is any different from the way that we did it years ago. And I would imagine it is, just because there are more tools, but it also could speak to whether or not the drastic change or shift that we may think we need to do based on those rising numbers need to happen. Like, are there other ways? And I know that Dr. Denal is not here tonight to share this part, but she is going to be, if not already, having conversations with you all. But she's really intentional about wanting to look across the country and see what best practices there are in other districts, because there's ways that people are doing things and there's ways that are non-traditional that are really effective. And I think the more that we open ourselves up to that, we're going to see some other opportunities to continue to grow. And the last thing I want to do is give a shout out to Chief Escribano, because the CPAC has been revived and it's now active again. And so for those who don't know, the CPAC is a Special Education Parent Advisory Council. And we have been wanting to get that restarted and get parents engrafted. And so thank you for your leadership with that as well. That if parents have been affected or they want to share their experiences or how to help us help their children even better, that there's an opportunity for parents to engage and help us, because it takes a village. We can't do it by ourselves. And so I want to thank you and Chief Escribano for making sure that that happens.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Naylor, well put. Ms. Hurst.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask one quick question? Because if you're going to go gather all that other information, I figured I'd ask you one more thing. So to the Mayor and Vice Chair Naylor's point, what do the numbers look like for the 504 plans? Have those in turn increased? If we're looking at, how we're servicing and or how students are being diagnosed, I just am wondering, is there still some level of accommodations being provided just on a least restrictive level, and not by way of the IEP, but perhaps the 504?
Absolutely, I can look into that for you.
Thank you, Ms. Hurst. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Dr. McCarthy, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We'll now move to C, Middle School Transformation. Andrea Williams, Yolanda, Dr. Johnson, Principal Yara Gonzalez. Come on down and to Dr. Balch.
All right, the superintendent, Dr. Denal, has outlined 4 strategic priorities. Tonight's presentation will focus on priority 2, middle school transformation, looking at student outcome acceleration and increased engagement. Tonight we have Dr. Yolanda Johnson, Principal Gonzalez, and Principal Williams here to share how they're transforming the middle school experience.
Thank you, Dr. Balch.
Thank you, Dr. Balch. We're back. So good evening again. I am joined this evening with 2 of our amazing middle school principals to share our plan under the leadership of course, Dr. Sonia Denal for middle school transformation. This presentation outlines our vision for creating vibrant learning environments where students thrive academically, socially, and emotionally during these critical developmental years. So join us this evening as we envision schools where students eagerly engage, teachers feel inspired, and families are empowered as true partners in education. And now the next voices you will hear will be from our leaders from South Bend and STEM Academy. Principal Williams, I turn it over to you. I know we're going to get our presentation.
Dr. Johnson, Principal Williams, thank you.
At this time, we are waiting for the connection. We have some slides to share with you this evening, but wanted to say good evening. I am the principal of STEM Middle Academy, And my colleague.
Hi, good evening. I was just here a couple of weeks ago. I am Jada Gonzalez, the proud principal at South End Middle School.
So our first two slides are actually data that we want to share with you, so I'm going to hold on until the slides are ready.
Georgie, Josue, how are we doing with that? Don't ask me for help. I still have an Etch-a-Sketch. Okay, thank you, George. Thank you, George.
So as you look to this first slide, what you're looking at are different charts sharing the comparison of Springfield Public Schools, grade 5, 6, 7, and 8 for ELA and math compared to the state of Massachusetts for our MCAS scores. So give you a couple of seconds to take a look there. I'm sure there are some noticings and wonderings. And slide number 2, we're looking at MCAS average student growth percentile for the same grades. Again, both looking at Springfield Public School, middle school grades for the most part, comparing the non-SEB schools, as well as for ELA and for math.
And while we know that assessment data is really important as we think about how we educate the whole student, it's really important to get their perspective and our, I think, hot off the presses, school year 2025 POG survey responses, particularly around whether kids are finding joy in their learning, relevance, whether teachers are making learning enjoyable. We see that only about 50% of students are indicating favorable responses almost always or most of the time. I do think that this does indicate a need for us to really revisit and transform and reimagine our middle school experience for students. And while we know that we've just shown you, some drops in achievement, some drops in growth, perhaps that we need to do some work around the experience, the middle school experience for our students, I think it's really important for us to really look at the things that we have accomplished this school year and that there are things that are really worth noting and celebrating. For South End Middle School in particular, I was just here a few weeks ago prepared to answer questions around our chronic absenteeism and our reduction of more than 5% this school year. We know that first step is we want students in school. That is step 1. So we've really leveraged our community resources, our attendance team. We've collaborated with Chief Escribano and his department and are really seeing the fruits of that labor around our chronic absenteeism, our portrait of a graduate survey results, which, like I said, I think are hot off the presses maybe, like March 17th or so, are really showing an overall increase in favorable responses for all of the principles of reimagined instruction in our building, in particular for our 6th grade students. And then, of course, the academics are incredibly important, and we know that through the strategic engagement in instruction, in our strategic plan for intervention, we've been able to see a narrowing of the gap in our MOI iReady data this school year. I do think something that we've done differently this year as opposed to previous years is really involve students in those data chats. It's really working with our school counseling team around academic goal setting. Kids were really aware of what domains they had strengths in and which ones they needed to grow in, and so we were really seeing the results of that in our MOI data.
And for STEM Middle Academy, we have a few things to celebrate as well. This year, we were able to successfully have a full grasp and understanding of implementing the newly revised attendance policy, ensuring that every member plays an important part, the family liaison, the attendance team, the guidance counselors, as well as the administration. So engaging with families, making sure there's tons of outreach. We're monitoring frequently, if not weekly, definitely monthly reporting out, and we're seeing significant decrease in our chronic absenteeism, and STEM consistently has an average daily attendance rate of 92%. There is also a consistent and improved internalization of the implementation of the high-quality instructional material. So between the instructional supports that we're seeing, as well as students who are present on a regular basis, we feel that there's going to be that continuous move forward where we see growth and development for our students, both academically as well as socially and emotionally. There is a history and a reputation for STEM Middle Academy where there's unique opportunities and experiences for the students where they feel engaged in different ways to more successfully grasp and understand the curriculum and the materials, and those are some of the areas that I would like to also build upon.
Thank you, Principal Williams.
So as we prepare to move forward in our presentation, and as we sat and thought about how do we transform, how do we reimagine our middle school experience, we really thought back to Dr. Denal and how we've heard her on multiple occasions say, what does it look like, what does it sound like, and what does it feel like? And so in our transformed and reimagined middle school, what does that look like? What do our learning spaces look like? How do they accommodate to the unique needs of our students? How do we leverage technology, collaboration? How do students showcase what they're achieving? And how do they explore different career options so that when they head to high school, they have a more narrowed view of what they would like to do once they graduate? And what does it sound like? What does discourse between students sounds like? What does the interaction between the student and the teacher look like? How are our students' voices being reflected in our classroom instruction? And how are we inspiring curiosity and engaging in critical thinking? And then what does it feel like? What is that vibe? When you enter a middle school building, what is that feeling that you get? Is it a feeling of community? Is it a feeling of belonging? Is it a feeling of joy? Are you seeing that students feel comfortable and safe enough to take academic risks? Are they excited about what they're learning and what the future may hold for them? And how are we supporting them through this developmental stage? Middle school is a very unique developmental time for kids, and so how are we supporting them through that? And how are we connecting what we're doing in the classroom to what they are planning to do after high school, whether it's college, career? We want them to start that exploration while they're in middle school.
So our plan has a focus where we have 4 areas for middle school transformation. So the first is teaching and learning, the second, student voice and family empowerment, the third, career exploration, and the fourth, student well-being. So we believe that these areas are interconnected, and if we are strategic, if we are conscientious about how we approach those areas, we will see where the students' needs are met across the board. We are looking to develop the whole child, not just the mind of the child, not just the physical body of the child, but their mental, emotional, social development as well. And so when we think about teaching and learning, we want to see transformational educational pedagogy and reestablish school identity or establish our school identity. We want to see it in our culture. We want to see creative learning spaces where students want to learn, teachers want to teach, and parents want to send their children. We want to see where students have a voice and families do as well. There's family empowerment, authentic opportunities for students and families to shape school culture, the curriculum, and policies that impact the structure within the school. Career exploration, integrated career and college readiness curriculum that helps students discover and explore different unique paths that may be accessible to them once they leave our middle schools and go on to high schools. Student well-being is the other area as well. Comprehensive support systems addressing academic as well as social, emotional, and mental health needs within the schools should be wraparound services and resources that are available or connections made to those resources for families and students as well.
Thank you, Principal Williams.
Establishing and reestablishing our school identity. I have the awesome opportunity to be returning to STEM. I had the opportunity to be the founding principal of STEM Middle Academy. At the time, we were a magnet school, and so STEM was really embedded in everything that we did. And at this point, there's a lot of work to lift that and make sure that shines the way that we know it can. And it also, again, prepares the students for the opportunities that they will experience once they leave our four walls. Each school will develop a distinct culture and identity that resonates with their community. This foundational work creates environments where students feel connected and motivated to learn. We want to also set wildly important goals. This is a term that I've learned from Dr. Johnson. She refers to it as WIGS. And so it's a Stephen Covey concept. I'm familiar with Franklin Covey and organizing and scheduling and just making sure that you're setting goals. And so if the parents, the community, as well as the students understand that we can beyond our wildest dreams, but set those goals, it will re-establish that hope and that belief that you can achieve those goals. And so that will be part of that process. And it's not just the counselor and the student or the educator and the student, but getting the families involved with that process as well, because we need everybody to help the students understand they can do this. To integrate college and career readiness, the use of MyCap to embed future-focused skills throughout the curriculum ensures students developing competencies needed for successful transitions to high school and beyond.
Thank you, Principal Williams.
So our following focus area is really around career exploration that inspires. I like to consider myself an honorary school counselor, so this is something that I hold near and dear close to my heart. The idea of really connecting our learning to possible careers. What is that collaboration between the school counselor, between the educator, between the school leadership looks, what does that look like? And how do we help students kind of integrate those learning experiences that are going to span the academic, the social emotional, then also the career and college domains. Again, that relationship between the counselor and the teacher, these conversations can't exist only with your school counselor. They really need to be threaded throughout the different content areas. And how do we expand on creating relevance and career exploration within each of our content area classrooms? And how amazing would it be if every 8th grade student leaves middle school with a portfolio of ideas that they've explored throughout their middle school years that will help strengthen their potential career pathways. That would be amazing. And then that student voice piece, the student-led conferences. Some schools in Springfield already have taken this on, and the idea of expanding on student-led conferences and really giving students the opportunity to once they've created goals, to present their goals and to present that progress to their families and to their educators really will increase the level of engagement and preparedness as students head to high school.
Thank you, Principal.
The next area, as we spoke about before, is the nurturing of the student well-being. So we're looking to take a look at how we do advisories or crew or whatever your school may determine it to be, but making sure that we restructure it in a way that it's intentional with specific curriculum that addresses the academic success, social emotional learning, as well as career interests. These small group settings provide every student with a trusted adult, a caring adult, as well as establishing that peer community. And looking again at empowerment clubs, student organizations, and educator advisors that normalize conversations about mental health, providing peer support, and developing student leadership and creating positive school culture.
And our final focus area, I think when we speak of stakeholders, we really need to mention our most important stakeholder, which is the student. And so how do we leverage student leadership? Do all our schools have a student council? Do they have a formal structure for students to participate in the decision-making within their buildings? How are we engaging families in the decisions that we're making for our middle schools? Do we have opportunities, extracurricular opportunities or extended learning time opportunities where we can leverage this time to really provide enrichment programming and additional support for our students? And finally, do we have systems that are set up for us to receive continuous feedback from these two most important stakeholders, our kids and our families?
Gonzalez.
Almost done. So really, as we prepare to close this evening's presentation, we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that implementing this vision really requires us to rethink some of our fundamental structures within our schools, and some are easier than others, but something that we can really look at and are currently engaged in is really thinking about our school schedule and how we can create flexible blocks that will allow us to maximize our time and really bring joyful learning experience to students. In addition to that, South End Middle School is a boundary school, and I think something I was saying the other day is, we're not a SEM, we're a conservatory, but we are a community school, and I think the part of that is the heart of who we are as community. And so how do we leverage that to create, more interactive coursework for kids to explore? How do we bring the community into our building? How do we bring our kids out into the community so that they can continue to explore interests and get hands-on expertise? So that is work that we're currently engaged in.
And the last two areas, strategic and intentional partnerships. We have a lot of resources within our community where our students have access to making those connections with the community. So they are within our students' neighborhoods, whether they come in within the school or our students know that they are welcome within those community centers, Family Center, Martin Luther King Community Center. There's a lot of resources that are available, and establishing those partnerships, whether it's college partnerships, business and career opportunities for our students as they are getting closer to that high school age, is very important. And the last area is strengthening our feeder patterns. We always think about middle school as the middle child, and so students leaving elementary school coming into middle school, it's a rough transition, and I don't know that we are as thoughtful as we could be to prepare them so that they find that success and we see those scores with sixth grade continue on the trend as they left 5th grade. And so wanting to think about what that looks like, but then also tapping into our high school connections. We have a lot of high school students that may have like opportunities for internship. Could they come in and tutor our students? Can we find connections where maybe spaces could be used or teachers could be a part of our plan for unique courses? We may have students who are high performers, and we don't want to feel like we're holding them back from accessing or excelling when we just don't have the staff that could support it or the course to support it. So are there unique ways that we can prepare them? As we think about college and career readiness, we need to start thinking about high school readiness and what that looks like so that we are, vertically aligned and we see the success continue as they move forward.
Thank you, Principal Williams and Principal Gonzalez.
That concludes our presentation. We thank you so much for your time and attention, and if you have any questions, we are happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you, very, very thorough. Before I ask school committee members a question, I did notice, I think it was on slide 2, ELL, that we were ahead of the state average. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
That's a great stat. I know the other ones were looking to do better, but the middle school is a tough transition age on that. So, and commend you both on that. I'll turn it over to school committee members or Dr. Balch for any questions or comments. Yes, Ms. Gresham.
With as many colleges and universities we have around the community.
Definitely have thought about it in the past. There were partnerships established that I would love to see reestablished, whether it's WINIC, which is WinU now, as well as AIC. They're within the community, so it's not a far stretch. But as well, I'm sure Dr. Johnson can explain a little bit more.
In this summer, as we are, restructuring and looking at our enrichment opportunities in middle school, we are definitely planning to offer opportunities where there will be a culminating activity where where all of our middle schools who participate in summer school will be on a college campus.
Great idea. Start early.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Any other questions or comments? Ms. Hurst?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So this might not be very popular, but I felt like there were things that you all said that were currently happening. And then at the very end, in particular, Principal Lewis, it felt like there were things that you wanted to see happen. And so I think I'm wondering, like, what is you all's ask to us? And then how can we help with this transformation of middle school? Because we know that this is a very sort of tough age, a tough sort of, we've had our challenges with middle school, period, right? It's not a secret. We have the zone and we have a very few number of middle schools that are still under our purview. And so I guess I'm just wondering, like, as I'm sitting here listening to you all, it almost sounded like there was this unspoken plea. And you can wait till Dr. Denal gets back to answer if you like, but that's the feeling that I got. Like, is there something that you all are thinking about? Like, we really wanted to present this to you all because we need your help with A, B, or C.
For myself, and I won't speak for others, but I believe that we're at the beginning stages of doing our research and exploring what would work best. I believe having a little leeway based on that research, whether it's a unique schedule or course offerings and what that might look like moving forward, whether it's where we can find creative ways for students to have unique experiences. I had the opportunity to survey some of the students and what would they like to see. A lot of hands-on activities, lots of highly engaging activities. It may look a little different than the traditional curriculum materials, but what would that look like? And I think for me, we're still at the beginning stages. We know that a change needs to occur, and there's a lot of research out there where we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but what could that possibly look like within our district?
I agree, and I had the opportunity to speak to some of my students, and they've echoed the same sentiment. So we know that something needs to be different. We know that kids are really desiring more opportunity, expanded course options, and we may need to get creative around how we do that with our current staffing and our current schedule, but we are prepared to research and to try something that will hopefully lead us to better student outcomes. And we might be coming back to this body and asking, can we please get this? But right now we're at the beginning stages, and I know for us, our schedule at this time is really what we're looking at and seeing how we can be flexible around that so that we can create some of these opportunities. Some of these things we can already do. And some others, we may come back and say, we're going to need some support around specific areas, but we are really at the beginning stages of this.
I have to say that, geez, 17 or 18 years ago and became mayor with school committeeman Chris Collins. Middle school was our big issue to tackle because the bridge wasn't there. We were losing kids. We made some good progress on it, so I know you're looking to take it to the next level on that. I'm sorry, Dr. Chair. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
Collins?
as you're exploring all the different opportunities out there, don't forget to explore the past. Some of the best things that middle school kids looked at were the home ec classes, the shop classes, and the hands-on learning. And that kept kids really involved, and they liked going to school because of it. So don't forget to explore going back to the future.
Absolutely, I agree. I remember taking woodshop, Mr. Levins, Chestnut Middle School. So, we are going to be looking into things that we've done in the past that we can hopefully bring back.
Good point. I remember that Kylie Junior High. We had wood shop.
Yep.
We had metal shop. We had home ec. Besides all the academic stuff too. And
My kids said they wanted cooking classes.
Dr. Balch.
On behalf of Dr. Denal, thank you for your comprehensive vision and your leadership in making decisions that are grounded in research. And Principal Williams, you shared an email with us this week, and I think it's such a shining example of advocacy voice and all of the things that you're trying to do in the middle schools. Could you just kindly share that? It's so remarkable, and I just would love for it to be heard.
Thank you for the opportunity to have our sixth grade students of STEM Middle Academy to shine. Students were engaged with a lesson probably back in February. They were learning about an author, Paul Robeson, if I'm not mistaken, and the students observed that the African-American author was not highlighted the same way that Walter Whitman was acknowledged within his works, within the curriculum, the high-quality instructional material. And so by the encouragement of their teacher, Mr. Gustafson, the students wrote an email to the publishing company, and they had the opportunity within a matter of a week where they received a response from the publishing company, and actually they acknowledged their effective writing and the feedback. They appreciated it. It was very clearly written, and they were able to make an adjustment to the curriculum based on what the students acknowledged. They changed it on the electronic or the digital version immediately, and it will be changed in print moving forward.
Wow. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll now move to D, College and Career Readiness, and that's Dr. Scott.
All right. Again, this aligns to Dr. Dinal's fourth area of focus, really thinking deeply about Springfield's public school students and their ability to thrive in college, career, and life. Tonight we have Dr. Johnson, Dr. Boulay, and Pam Matheson presenting on Springfield Public Schools' promise and commitment to college and career readiness.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh. Dr. Johnson?
Good evening again. Preparing students for future success requires a comprehensive approach that begins in elementary and continues through high school graduation. The district's college career readiness strategies provides a structured framework that evolves with students as they progress through their educational journey. So this evening, we're just going to provide you with an overview of some of our strategies and how we're going to utilize this work under our college career readiness priority to really support students beyond high school graduation. So you heard about MyCap in the middle school presentation, and MyCap is my college and career plan, and it's a Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education tool to support students with planning starting in middle school through high school. And students began to outline their interests and their aspirations in their digital portfolio to support their academic and career goals. It starts in 6th grade, but when students transition to high school, they continue. So in 9th grade, they continue to do exploring around awareness. In 10th grade, they begin to monitor self-management and learning on how those careers can really become reality. In 11th grade, they're really starting to fine-tune how is that going to become a reality? Do I need a college degree or a certificate, or can I go right into the workplace? And in 12th grade, that's where the rubber meets the road. They're completing the FAFSA. They're really doing those engaging those final details to really help them with ensuring that they graduate with a plan. So that is an overview of MyCap and how it fits into our key performance indicators as a district. So next I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Boulay, who is the Springfield Promise Program Administrator.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Dr. Goulet, thank you.
Good evening and thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Before we start, I would like to make sure that I give some shout out to everyone that is involved in getting our FAFSA numbers where they are today. Specifically our financial aid advisors, our teachers and our school counselors, and then also other departments within the district, such as the ELL Family Resource Center, for their translation and interpreting skills to help us to be where we are today. Right now, we are at 45.3%, and it is March, and last year we finished the school year with 46%. So we are grateful for all of the support that we've gotten to get us to where we are right now. Our goal, we're still not there yet because we still have 319 FAFSAs to complete to get to 62% goal that the superintendent has put in place for us. So we still have a lot of work to do, but we are on track to be where we need to be. And a big thank you to everyone in the district, the families, the students, and everyone who participated in our effort. We are the Springfield Promise Program, and I don't take that lightly. Basically, what I'm saying is, although the department's name is Springfield Promise Program, but we are Springfield Promise. Our district is Springfield Promise. Our students and families, they are our promise. And the school committee is our promise. So it takes, like you said earlier, a village to make sure that we put our students where they need to be and put them on the map instead of not just the state, but seeing them at the national level as to where they can be with what we do. So what we do is we work collaboratively with students with school counselors and so forth to make sure that our students, by the time they graduate high school, they are college and career ready. By that we mean that they make sure that they have a plan to either go to college, go to a trade school, go to the military, or in the workforce. None of our students should be finishing school not knowing exactly what they need to do. So that's how we work with students and families, just to make sure that's done. One area that I focus on is college affordability and college attainment as well. So the way that we do that, we work from bottom up by starting with our 9th graders. In that stage, what we do, we just ensure that we give them an introduction of what college financing looks like. We talk to them about the earnings, the different career earnings with having a high school diploma as opposed to a college, to a bachelor's or an associate degree, and have them to start thinking about how, from their first year as a first year student, they can start working toward that goal. And we also spend a lot of time talking about the importance of attending school regularly, doing well, so that they can get that free money that they need to get to college or trade school. In 10th grade, we start going deeper into the financial resources and the different types. We help them to understand the difference, for example, between need-based scholarship and merit-based. Also, what is free money versus borrowed money and earned money and things like that. And then we continue as well to make sure that we're talking about attending college, attending high school, doing well in school to get the free money. In 11th grade, we start going deeper into the financial aid process and also talking to them about the documents that they will need to be able to apply for FAFSA, apply for scholarships, and then we give them, again, a refresher course in terms of the financial aid process, the different aid they could receive, and then go deeper into national, regional, or local scholarships so that they could start thinking about grades, essays, and things like that to get them ready for that stage. And then in the spring of their junior year, we also make sure that both the students and the parents, they are creating their FSA IDs, which is the username and password they have to apply for the FAFSA, to complete the FAFSA form. And in 12th grade, we really are now hands-on with students and families to get them to complete their FAFSAs, apply for scholarships, and then we also work with them to complete the CSS profile if they need to do that. And then during this time of the year, we're not only completing FAFSAs, but we're also working with them to review their financial aid award letters from the different schools so that they can make informed decisions about where they plan to go to college. We don't want anyone to go to college to go to certain schools because their friends are going there, or not paying attention to the fact that maybe my friends' families can afford it and I can't. Why don't I go in another route? So we really sit down with them, go over the award letters, and help them make that informed decisions. And I would also say that we also now starting working with our adult students as well. Yesterday or the day before, I had the pleasure, I would say, to meet with 6 of them to help them to complete their FAFSAs, and it was just a joy helping them out. The other thing that we do is we don't just work with students in the schools just during the school year, but we're also making sure that our comprehensive approach also means that students, regardless of where they go to high school, that they are getting a similar experience with the college and career process. So at the district level, we collaborate with different colleges, especially Springfield College, for example, to offer a college fair in the fall semester. And then we also make sure that our students, they attend at least an HBCU fair, a Hispanic institutions college fair, and then also the NACAC fair as well. We collaborate with all of the schools, provide school buses, and make sure that our students, they are there, because we know by learning about the process, they'll be able to make the right decision that is good, not just only for themselves, but for their families as well. And we also offer evening workshops for different topics, such as College Success Night for seniors in the fall, College Planning Night for juniors in the spring, FAFSA Frenzies throughout the whole school year in the evening via Zoom, and on the weekends as well, just to make sure that the students, they have the resources and the support that they need to do what they need to do. And in fact, next week, we are partnering with MIFA Pathways to offer a workshop to help families understand the financial aid award letters, and then also to help them to figure out how they might, what they need to start working on in terms of paying that fall semester bill as well before they make the decision to attend a specific school. These opportunities connect students with college and career representatives. It provides them targeted information sessions for families, and then also help them to create multiple touch points for college and career explorations. So at this time, I will turn it over to
Dr. Goulet, can I just ask you a question? First, I want to thank you, Springfield Promise. That was an excellent thing with the Financial Control Board in about 16 years ago. We pressed on them that education was the key in getting our kids to college on and the FAFSA. Thank you for doing that. It is so cumbersome, and thank God for my wife Carla and my daughters many years ago with that to help on the quagmire going through the FAFSA on that. So we prepare them and we help the families. And I know with Dr. Yolanda Johnson, we used to do with our dear friend Dr. Kamal Ali. We used to do 100 mails to college. Westfield State College, the urban pipeline that we had there. But I just wanted to thank you. And we took it in-house a number of years ago, because this actually started, it was a Boston-based was running it. And we said, well, why can't we just do it on our own here? And we are. So I just want to thank you for your...
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to work with our kids. All right, so at this time, I'll ask Ms. to comment.
Come on down, Pam.
Hello. Good evening. Thank you so much for having us. Our School to Career team supports the MyCap career development and readiness work through a series of career awareness, career exploration, and career immersion activities. Just to give you a sense of what that looks like, that can range anything from career advising, career coaching, career speaker series in the classroom or at the school. Could be workshops and or classroom delivery on topics such as resume writing, interview prep, career fair prep, and how to navigate the job search process. We also facilitate and plan industry site visits, tours, and job shadowing at different companies and industries in the region. Some of those examples of those trips that we have done so far this year include a Western New England Law School Day. We also did a Springfield College Healthcare Simulation Center Day with 2 pilot schools. We had the Suit Up Springfield and Dress for Success experience for some students, as well as the STEM Career Day at STIC, as well as an Optics and Photonics Day. I could go on, but there's a list of them. I think a few others is we partner with Bay State Health. They do a career fair specific to where they bring in all the different departments in the hospital and bring the students to them, and where they can actually try certain things on during that fair, as well as many more to come. Matter of fact, there's one more that's coming up in May, which is a national manufacturing showcase that happens at the Big E. There's about 4 of them that happen across the country. And so they do a Bright Minds student competition. So we will have several schools participating in that student competition in manufacturing as well in May. And then obviously our team collaborates with industry and community partners to make all this happen. And most recently, on just this past Monday, we had our career and internship fair at the Basketball Hall of Fame.
There's a little picture of it. Can't quite see all the bodies, but it was a tremendous turnout thanks to the work of our School to Career team. And in collaboration with Hope and Youth and Families and Mass Hire, we had over 500 students participate in the fair this year, which was a 43% increase from last year, as you can see. We also had an increase in number of industry and community partners with over 70 participating. They roughly brought about 160 representatives. So it was quite a large and active room. And I just wanted to share that the other thing that we tried to do with the career fair was to also make it more hands-on, which we were hearing about in the middle school level, and how can we make it more relevant and real to life. So we offered the opportunity to our industry partners to do demos during the fair, and we had a number step up. Springfield Water and Sewer brought literally heavy equipment. They brought water meters and fire hydrants, as well as they were ready to bring the big trucks, but the weather didn't cooperate that day. AMR brought an ambulance. We had lab tests, drones. Springfield Fire had them put on, I just want to make sure I quote this because my husband, who is a fireman, might get me later, but it's called the turnout gear. That's all the heavy gear that they put on before they go into a fire. They had a station where students could put that on and stand in front of a heater. So they got a sense of not only the weight, but the heat of what that experience was like. And again, multiple examples go on after that. And also, I think we also did, which I was really excited about, is the Attorney General's office did a session about teen employment law. So students could understand what the law states of what's appropriate based on what time of year it is for them and their age. And I would be remiss if I didn't do another shout out to our Renaissance students who volunteered to be the models for the Dress for Success fashion show, which they had an interactive session with what to wear and what not to wear. And it was a standing room only in the theater. So it was a great success. So I think from that, I did want to bring it back that we also leveraged this opportunity to engage our industry partners in our MyCap work by inviting them to open up accounts in School Links, which is our new MyCap platform where they can post their own page, promote careers, talk about their company, and post opportunities. So we're hoping through this exercise, we're going to see more industry engagement on that platform, and that is our goal. So that way, as students are engaging and using that platform through the activities that they're doing, through what you heard earlier, that then they're going to start exploring what's happening locally. And then one last tidbit I want to wrap up on this slide is that we're already getting feedback from our school to career coordinators that students are already coming back to them to take action from the things that they had just done on Monday. So we're very excited about that. So now I just want to jump really quick and just give you a quick update on where we're at with our internships and work-based learning. You know, as students work through their MyCap activities with their counselors, you know, the goal is for them to increase their awareness about the opportunities, get that understanding of who they are, what their interests are, what their strengths are, and then what does that mean? Where can I apply that? What type of industries or what type of career paths? There's multiple ways that you can kind of take the way that I always say, what makes you tick, and the things that you like to do, and how you can apply that to a number of different types of positions. And there's nothing better than trying something on first. And ruling something out is just as important as ruling something in for our students. So they might realize, yeah, I want to become a vet, this is going to be great, and then they get in there and they realize after kind of seeing the reality of what that position might look like that maybe that might not be for them, or it rules it in and says, yes, I am, and this is for me. And that will help our students continue on with understanding what they have to do to prepare for that. And then they also get the mentoring that's partnered with that experience. And then it also saves them time and money in the long run. So right now, as you can see, we're on track to surpass, as of the third quarter stats, we're already past where we were at the end of last year. So we're looking forward to seeing that even higher by the time we reach the end of June. I did want to share, just to wrap things up, just some samples of what some of our students are doing this year. We actually have a marketing shop student who was recently connected with a renovation construction company who is going to do content generation for their marketing by capturing video and developing their social media content. We also have actually an IT intern that was hired by Springfield Public Schools who just completed an unpaid internship at Ludlow Public Schools and is now part of Bob's team. We also have students that are in a number of education settings, not just here in Springfield, but also in Wilbraham and in Ludlow and some others where they're in a variety of different departments. So we're cultivating that talent pool that we so desperately need in all the different areas in special ed, paras, as well as counselors. And I think the one other one I just wanted to mention was that we do have even students that doing a sport therapy internship in the athletics department at AIC. So just wanted to give you a quick update. Take any questions?
Pam, I just wanted to say, done a great job. It was great to get you on board from your private sector experience from Mass Mutual, and that water and sewer internship has been a home run project. And just more than just turning the spigot on. And I also am proud to say we've hired some of our students out of Putnam Vocational Technical High School in our fire department, DPW, and even with IT. And when I say that, specialized mechanics have been hired. So we're trying to do even more of a pipeline. But that water and sewer one is just absolutely fantastic. That there's a myriad of careers.
Yeah. Not only did they hire the 12 that they planned to, they hired back 4 returning from the prior year. Yeah. So if we're all set, I'll turn it back over to Dr. John.
Any questions of Pam at all?
I do have one question,
Vice-
maybe two. So my question for you is for the students, the grades, what are the grade levels for the students that are involved in the internship program?
Primarily 11th and 12th grade.
Okay, and that does include co-op placements?
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask, if possible, if we can get some follow-up data as to the schools that the students are from, to get an understanding of the students, and we appreciate the co-op, so I'm not in any way saying anything like that, but I do want to understand, even beyond the co-ops, what are we doing, and also being able to see the trajectory of how we've improved on those connections through the co-op, because I know that those numbers have continued to increase, and I would like to better understand what that looks like. We had a phenomenal presentation at Putnam about a month ago. It was it was great. It was phenomenal. Talked a lot about what we're doing as a district with our students, and also to remind employers on this platform, anybody who's listening, that we continue to want to partner with employers and businesses to continue to give our students experience, paid and unpaid, stressing the paid, because we all can use a little bit of extra for our students to be able to do what they do and be able to remain focused in school. But I do think it's important that we continue to do this. Thank you for what you all are doing and how you're continuing to make this happen and grow.
Thank you.
We'll definitely get that to you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Dr. Johnson.
Dr. Johnson?
So a very important part of this work around, college and career readiness is the academic experiences our students need to have to succeed in life beyond high school graduation. And there's an opportunity for our students to take dual enrollment classes. Those are classes that are offered to our students for free at colleges, local colleges, and they can earn credit towards their high school graduation, as well as credits when they enter college. Another opportunity is early college. Now, an early college experience is slightly different, where it's really a more comprehensive approach to support students prior to taking classes. So you start them off at like a cohort, and you really provide them with supports and structures that really support them more holistically, addressing non-cognitive factors around, student achievement, as well as helping them with organizational skills, self-regulation skills, etc., to really make sure that they have the mindset to really take those college-level classes, excel in those college-level classes, and use those credits towards a degree at a college. So we have dual enrollment opportunities, and we have early college experiences. Right now, we're piloting an early college class at Putnam, and it's students from SciTech and Putnam, and they range in grades from 9 to 12, and they're taking an intro to sociology class. You know, so we're really trying to pilot this and looking forward to seeing what we can do in the summer with this early college experience, as well as the upcoming school year. And Pam's going to share with you some information about our ICP pathways.
Thank you. So currently we have two innovation career pathway programs. The one that's most established is the one at the conservatory was information with a focus on digital media and production and music production. That program is now in its 5th year, and we have an incredible computer science teacher and a coordinator who have really taken that program to another level. We just started this year with environmental science pathway at Renaissance, where that program is in its 1st year of implementation and have already had tremendous success building off of their environmental sciences programming that they had done already. And right now this year, we're actually in the year of planning grant for Central High School for an ICP program in manufacturing and engineering, where we have got some really remarkable partners that have stepped up from the region. We're looking at a focus on optics and photonics and microchips and quantum computing, which you hear a lot about, but also looking at offering what we are calling sub-pathways within manufacturing, because that's such a broad field that we wanted to make sure that there was areas of appeal for multiple students in the multiple pathways. And we're just waiting to see if we get the designation sometime later this spring.
Questions or comments? Of whether Pam or Dr. Goulet or Dr. Johnson?
All right. The other two programs that we offer while school is not in session is summer enrichment program for rising juniors and seniors, and also summer melt for graduating seniors. So basically, we work with the students 3 days a week from end of June to early August. To make sure that they are here with us, and then they are taking advantage of our resources. So we provide college awareness and exploration, and we also help students to work on their essays, college essays, early on, and then also take them on campus tours so they can experience being on a college campus. And we also provide workshops on financial aid and scholarships, and actually give students a list of of scholarships that have fall deadlines, so they could start working on them. And anyone that did not do their FSAIDs with us during the school year, they can come back in the summer to have that done. We also work with our college and career pathway office to provide resume writing, interviewing skills, and things like that as well. The graduating senior students, they're usually not with us after May, but what we do is we provide reminders to the students via our Signavine chat program. We also are available to provide one-on-one financial aid assistance to them, contacting the schools that they're going to help them to answer any questions that they have, and then making sure that they are completing everything on their new students checklist. So via the Signavine, we remind them of completing their orientation, new students orientation, registering for classes, waiving student health insurance, for example, enrolling in payment plans so they could know exactly how to pay the bill, and signing their student loan paperwork and things like that. So the goal is to ensure that students successfully transition from high school to college or trade school or the military, wherever they decide to go, and not lose the momentum over the summer.
Thank you, Dr. Goulet.
So we are at the place where we are wrapping up this presentation. It is important for us to understand that we have to have a comprehensive approach to reduce the potholes. This is really a part of the overall strategic plan for the district, starting with early literacy, and now we're at college and career readiness. This is more than just showing up and wearing college swag and having a career fair. This is really about ensuring that our students have those experiences to connect the dots. And we have a responsibility to ensure that that happens. So this is our college and career readiness presentation, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we will take our seats.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Goulet, Ms. Mathis, Pam. Any questions or comments? Presentation, Dr. Balch.
On behalf of Dr. Denal, thank you for your continued advocacy in guiding our students through the FAFSA completion, ensuring that they're making informed decisions, and promoting a college and career, those exploration opportunities that are so important. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Balch. Any other questions or comments? Thank you again. Please appreciate that. Okay, we'll now move to reports of standing committees. A is student and parent concerns, Ms. Gresham.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Gresham. B is buildings maintenance committee, Mr. Gonzalez.
He has left the meeting, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, Deb.
but we did address those items that were on the agenda.
Thank you, Vice Chair Naylor. C is legislative contracts committee, Vice Chair Naylor.
Just one item that we do have the attorneys drafting a letter for the school committee. It's a resolution actually that we would like to hopefully participate as a body to really charge our legislation to make sure that they're considering increasing their reimbursement for districts. Right now, the rates that we're being reimbursed for charter schools has continued to drop or be very delayed, and we want to improve what that process looks like. And so there will be a resolution that will be drafted and presented at the next school committee meeting.
Thank you.
We will review in legislative and contract subcommittee.
Thank you, Vice Chair Naylor. That's an important point because you're right. It has decreased, or when we do get it, it's delayed, which means we have to front the money on it. So. Any questions or comments on Vice Chair Naylor's report? Okay, hearing none. D, Curriculum and Programs Committee, Ms. Hurst.
Mr. Mayor, this matter has already come before us as a vote this evening.
Thank you for your work with the subcommittee, Ms. Hurst. E is Budget and Finance Committee, Vice Chair Naylor.
Yes, just a quick couple of things. That budget season is upon us and that we are having hearings and things of that nature, and that the budget is posted publicly on our website as well as in our library and available in the district office. So we just want to remind our community of that. Secondly, we are reviewing and updating the policy on fundraising and booster clubs. We have a very dated policy. I think it's from 1993 or something like that. And there's been a few situations that have arose that require for us to update that policy. So we will be reviewing that in Budget and Finance as well.
Thank you, Vice Chair Naylor. Any questions or comments on the report? Okay, hearing none. Is F, Vocational Education Committee, Mr. Gonzalez. He had to leave the meeting. G is Technology Committee, Mr. Collins.
No report at this time, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. H is School Safety Committee, Ms. Gresham.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I is Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. Ms. Hurst, please.
There was the inclusive calendar, Mr. Mayor, that came through as a vote earlier this evening.
Thank you again for your work on that, Ms. Hurst. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the star of the show. It's the report of our student representative, Serenity Martinez, a junior, Springfield Virtual School. This is her last meeting, and she's done an outstanding job. She indicates to me that she has a 13-page dissertation that she's going to give right now. Am I correct?
Close.
I love it. Way to give it back to me. Serenity, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I know you heard from me just 2 weeks ago, but I'm back again. You can thank our wonderful mayor for that. It's testing month. We started our in-person testing between grades 3 through 10. It has been a smooth start, and our students are celebrating their success after each day is completed. Our 10th graders just finished their ELA testing yesterday. The Empowerment Club handed out goodie bags to all the students. They are always there to lift our students up. Our 3rd through 8th are ready for their testing in April, and we might have a long way to go before testing is over, but we are taking it on headfirst. As part of Civics Learning Week, March 10th through 14th, Discovering Justice arranged to Zoom with a judge, our elementary through 8th grade classes had the opportunity to meet with judges to learn about careers within the justice system. I spoke with students from multiple grades. These are some quotes they shared about their experience. Zooming with the judge was an amazing experience because we got to see different judges, listen to them give us fun facts about their job and the court, and learning about what the job of a judge is like. I thought it was really interesting, very detailed and direct with the information, which is how I learned best. They also took questions from students about the job pathways and requirements students need to meet. We got to interact with students from different schools across Massachusetts on a Zoom. The judge gave us situational questions where we got to make a decision like they do in their job every day. I learned about the Supreme Court and the different branches of government. We also learned how judges can make decisions in a case, and there are other people, the jury, who can also help them to make the decision. It was great getting to learn how the justice system works. The SVS Empowerment Club hosted an event last Thursday for the SVS students. At this event, we had all kinds of games and prizes like trivia, gift cards, goodie bags. I designed a booklet that introduced young students to the concept of mental health. Students from elementary through 11th grade were in attendance. While playing games, students also got into engaging conversations about mental health. This event went so well, the Empowerment Club is beginning to plan another event. There isn't enough words in the English dictionary to explain how much this experience has meant to me. But I know I can find the words to tell you what I've learned and experienced. Sitting up here has made me see the future, and let me tell you, Springfield's future is bright. This might be my last speech sitting here, but my work will continue, and everyone who comes after me will be inspiring the people of Springfield. My name is Serenity Martinez, and it has been an honor to witness greatness in the making.
Hey, Serenity. Good job.
Really?
Yeah,
Thank you.
really. Your daughter's got moxie, I'll tell you that. I mean it in a good way. You know, you were going like this, oh. And if there's okay, it's all right too. Any questions or comments of Serenity's report? You did a great job. We're gonna miss you. I know we'll see you around, but outstanding job. Very, very proud of you, and I know you're gonna go on to continued success too.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We'll now go to the report of the superintendent. Dr. Balch will give that. Michelle will give that tonight.
Nothing to report at this time. Superintendent Dr. Denal will report on the items at the next meeting.
Oh, we like those reports. Okay. Unfinished business? Hearing none. New business?
There's one item, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez had to leave the meeting a little earlier before we were able to complete. But one of the things that he did want us to be aware of is that there's a requirement for a letter, preferably to come from the body of the school committee regarding some policies around the lottery for vocational schools. We did some really intense work a few years ago, and we don't want to allow the Department of Education to make decisions without us weighing in on it.
Oh.
And so there will be some conversations in addition to the ones that they had in the vocational, or that we actually had in the vocational subcommittee, but we were not prepared to have anything for tonight's meeting. But there will be a draft of that letter available, whatever we work through during the subcommittee, to present to the body to hopefully vote in agreement. Mr. Gonzalez is planning to do something separate, which I'm not privy to all the details, so I don't want to overstep my boundaries on that, but I do want to make sure that we're aware that it will be coming down the pipeline. And if there's anyone that is interested in being a part of that conversation and hearing what the subcommittee is hashing out, please do attend that subcommittee once it is put out there for us to know what that date is.
Thank you, Vice Chair Naylor, and to School Committeeman Gonzalez. We want to call our own shots here and not be dictated to, especially with Putnam Vocational. really, probably the best vocational technical school in the state and one of the best in the country. So, very timely on that. Any other questions or comments on Vice Chair Naylor's? Okay, any other new business? Hearing none, is there a motion to?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Hurst, second by Vice Chair Naylor. Roll call vote is required. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Gonzalez, absent. Attorney Murphy, absent. Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Ms. Gresham,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Monroe-Naylor,
Yes.
Mayor Sarno.
Yes, board is sufficient vote. This matter passes. Good evening. Thank you for watching. Good health and God bless.